What's up, guys? Welcome back. I've been seeing a lot of articles and videos about how people do not want to work any longer, especially the younger generation. Well, I represent the other side of that spectrum. I am the type that likes to work. So, tonight we are talking about work and working a lot. Let's dive into this article here about the history of working long hours and how it was viewed back then, and then we'll dive into a couple of videos that where people are working a lot and see what their goals are. Historically, working long hours didn't generate admiration. In ancient Greece, free men had only contempt for work, while slaves performed labor. In ancient Rome, autium, the Latin word signifying freedom from work and leisure time, was a dear activity to the wealthy patricians who could happily afford not to work for a living. Fast forward to the 19th century, and the American economist and sociologist Thorstein Veblen, I believe I pronounced that right, proposed that conspicuous abstention from labor becomes the conventional mark of superior pecuniary achievement. What he's saying there is the avoidance of work back then from labor is a sign of someone who has money, which makes sense because back then, if you are in the ruling class, you tended to just not have to do any labor work. So if you think about kings and queens, you didn't have to work much and labor at all because that's what slaves are for. Whereas labor is a mark of poverty and subjection, inconsistent with reputable standing in the community. In other words, if you were a laborer back then, you were looked down upon. In the series Downtown Abbey, Countess Violet Crawley even asks a curious tone, "What is a weekend?" My cat is having the zoomies right now as I'm broadcasting. So if you are hearing background meowing, oh, that's my cat. Where was that? What is the weekend? An upper crust British woman in the early 20th century was too aristocratic to even recognize the concept of a week divided by work and leisure. Imagine that. If you are an aristocrat back then, the term weekend did not even apply to you because every day feels like a weekend to you because you didn't have to work. You're too dang rich. Although, that still applies to some elites today, I'm sure. What a difference a few decades makes. Elon Musk, the wealthiest person on the planet, portrays himself as a workaholic, working 80 to 100 hours per week. Celebrities brag about their business and crazy work schedules on social media. In fact, a paper from a nonprofit Bureau of Economic Research suggests that a century of declining work hours in America began to reverse around 1970, particularly among highly educated, high wage men. What happened to the 1970? I think maybe it has something to do with the suffrage. Recent data from the US Census Bureau also suggests that the highest earners work the longest hours, and I agree with that statement. Part of this monumental shift is down to the rise of knowledge intensive economies. Labor markets are increasingly highly structured and competitive. It is very competitive out there, as you guys already know. The more skills and more knowledge you have, the better compensated you are. Human capital is one of the most prized economic assets. If you are valuable enough for the skills and knowledge that I mentioned, you will be compensated on the market price. At least, hopefully, that is the idea. On the supply side, workers invest heavily in their education and skill development, recognizing that their human capital is their most marketable source. On the demand side, companies, institutions, and headhunters compete to attract and retain top talent and the best brains. After all, this has helped usher in an environment where long work hours have become a status symbol, a way for individuals to demonstrate their worth. In the past, working hard in economic systems that were mostly based on less skilled agriculture and manufacturing may have been perceived as virtuous, but it may not have implied an individual was in high demand. But long hours of work and business today do. The video that we're about to watch, a lot of you will probably think that they are crazy, and maybe you think I'm crazy for agreeing with a lot of these people who work long hours. But it's not for everyone. I definitely can see the argument of why it wouldn't be for everyone. But stick around and maybe I could change your perspective on why people work a lot of hours in today's society.
In your 20s, you should work 84 hours a week. This is the only way to get yourself out of poverty. I used to wake up at 4, start training people in the morning, take the train to my next job where I work security. After that, I would work for a moving company. I did that 7 days a week. And then
Now, I know some of you guys, as I mentioned, think that it's crazy for you to work every day of the week, working 12 hours every day. And I totally get it. It is not for the weak. And when I say weak, I don't mean that you are weak as in you don't deserve to rest, but you got to have a strong stomach to work those hours, long hours. Yeah, you got to have the fortitude to really strive and try to achieve whatever goal that you are pursuing. And if it takes working 80 hours a week, then you will do it. How bad do you want to achieve your goal? If your goal, like this man, is to get out of poverty, you need to be working a lot. You're not going to get out of poverty. You're not going to get ahead if you just want to work part time. I'm sorry, that is just the harsh truth. I wish it wasn't like that. I wish we all had to work just 20 hours a week and live in a utopia, but that is not the case. We got to live in reality, guys.
on the weekends, I woke up early, trained people, and then I managed a restaurant in Queens on the weekends. So I averaged about 12 hours a day of working. Between those 4 jobs, I was making 6 figures a year. But I saved at least half my income, and I was able to use that income to start my first business.
And a lot of you guys also want to start your own business, like I do. I think that making $100,000 a year is a good start, so that you can, save enough money to have capital to, do whatever business idea that you want to pursue. And it's never, ever easy. For any successful business person out there watching this, share your ideas or your experience on just how difficult it is to, keep your company afloat, and how much work you had to put in there to be where you are right now, just like any other business. So if you are a type of person that wants to get ahead in life, or if you want to start a business, you really do have to put in a lot of hours to get ahead.
Now, if I would do that again today, it'd be a lot easier. Drive Uber all day, do Uber Eats or something. You can go on TaskRabbit and do stuff, because you need leverage to really make real wealth. And if you're stacking cash, working super hard in your 20s, you could allocate that money in your 30s to really be out here balling.
So I've pretty much always had 2 jobs myself, and I definitely agree with him. In my 20s, I was broke AF, you know. But not because I didn't work. I definitely worked 2 jobs. I was broke because I spent all my money. I didn't know how to manage my money. I was working a restaurant job and I was also an EMT for a little bit. I mean, the pay wasn't great, but I definitely worked enough hours. And back then, inflation wasn't crazy. Everything was priced reasonably: rent, car payments, insurance. This was, in the 2000s. And, working two jobs back then, yeah, you're getting ahead. But my my error in my finances was I spent all my money in cars and women. Okay, because I don't know, that's what I did in my 20s, and I still make that mistake sometimes, even when I'm in my 30s now. Women and cars are expensive. It's just my two um my two weaknesses in life that has kept me from becoming rich: women and vehicles. I've tried my darn best, and I'm going off topic now for some reason, to stay away from all that. But, you guys gotta do what you guys gotta do.
You're not working at least 12 hours a day now. That's cool, just don't complain about being broke.
Yeah. So, if you are broke and you don't want to work, then stop complaining. You know, if you don't want to be broke, go to fucking work, man. I don't know what to tell you. Cash and money don't fall out of the sky. They don't grow on trees either. Let me tell you.
40-hour work week is modern day slavery. It's modern day slavery. They're paying you just enough for you to be able to keep a roof over your head, eat some food that's making you fatter and sicker and more lethargic and destroying your mental health. The reality of it is you have to be willing to work a lot. And there's a formula for this. 40 hours, again, that's just survival.
See, you see a pattern here, guys? These guys are older than me. Um, and they are successful because I know they're successful because um, I've seen their stuff a long time ago, their businesses. And it's so true that 40 hours, especially nowadays, it's just bare minimum to get by. You're just floating, essentially, hopefully breaking even. And working beyond that is really where you start getting ahead. And you do that for years on years and years. And it just adds up, it compounds, and that's when you really get ahead. And as I mentioned earlier, in my 20s, I was, working two jobs, but I squandered it, my extra money, by buying Louis Vuittons and buying new cars and freaking, just spending. I mean, when I was 21, I bought my girlfriend back then 3 Louis Vuitton bags, and they were like a couple $1,000s each, and my gosh, now I'm like, why would I do that? That's, I didn't even get, married, we didn't even get married. We broke up. She was crazy.
Every hour after 40, you have to look at as an investment in your future. And if you work 60 hours plus per week, your success over the long term is virtually guaranteed.
I want to say that.
Yeah. Work 60 hours a week constantly in my 30s, really. And exactly what that guy said: 40 hours should pay for your everyday needs, and everything over that should be invested. Business you want, or maybe a stock portfolio. So, this is how you get ahead in life. This next video, I included in there because I wanted to show the other side of the spectrum of people who really don't want to work hard. And I thought it'd be nice to balance it out. So let's check out this young gentleman.
Say this: never work your ass off at any job, bro, because it don't matter how hard you work, bro. You can always get fired anytime. I promise you, bro. Like, y'all gotta understand, like, these jobs do not care about you, bro. Like, they do not care about you, bro. They only care about you working, bro. That's it, bro.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's a business. They definitely want to they definitely care that you are working, preferably working hard.
That's why you'll never see me trying to impress my boss by working fast or trying to do all this extra shit. You will never see me do some shit like that. I'm just gonna work my normal pace, bro. And then working hard at a job is really not gonna get you nowhere. I promise you it's not, bro. Only thing it's gonna get you is your same paycheck that you've been getting paid.
I, I disagree with this guy wholeheartedly. Although I do get his sentiment why he would have this mindset. It is true that companies, just view you as just a number. You're just a number. You're an asset, hopefully, and they want you performing at the highest productivity, hopefully, for the benefit of the company. And if you are just doing the bare minimum, then, yeah, you can definitely do that. But let me tell you, you are not moving up the company going that route.
And that's it, bro. It's not gonna get you nowhere, bro. If you don't got two incomes outside of this job, you know what I'm saying? It's really not gonna get you nowhere. And then kissing ass too, bro. I don't kiss ass at no job, bro. I really beat it myself. I barely talk to people. Like, they'll tell you.
Yeah, I definitely disagree with this part. You definitely need to network at work. The reason why you're at work is for you to gain skills and to network. If you are not gaining skills and learning skills and putting that, you're essentially becoming a better version of yourself by acquiring skills, kind of like in a video game. You know how you play video games and you just gain skills and points? That's essentially what you're doing at a job. You are gaining skills and honing your craft, hopefully. If you're just this guy just trying to get by and not, you know, perfecting the craft and trying to move beyond that, then you're setting yourself up for failure. Now, I understand that your job might let you go, depending on the economic conditions, but you are better off making those connections at work so that in the future instance, you might have a chance to move up via promotion. Or if you move on to another career and you need a reference or so, then you definitely need to have a good work history. And by not doing that, this guy, in my opinion, is not setting himself up for success.
I barely speak to anybody. The only person I really speak to here is my family. That's it, bro. I don't be kissing ass. I don't be trying to make conversation. I'm just here to work and go home, bro. That's it, bro.
One last thought about that guy. Yeah, some jobs maybe it sucks and all you want to do is just get in and out. And if that's your job and you don't really care for it, sure. Yeah, go ahead and do that. You can have that mindset. But if it's a job in a career or industry you want to grow into, you definitely need to put in more effort. You don't want to be the bare minimum type of worker if you want to be more than that. And this last video, it says, working your ass off to provide for a family you're not even sure you'll ever get, while everyone else your age parties, is beyond draining. So this is a blue collar guy that, he's earnest and sounds like he doesn't have a family, but he is working his butt off to provide, hopefully someday, for someone. And I totally get what he is going through. I sometimes ask myself, what am I working towards? Why am I working so hard and so much? One day I, want to start a family. It may not be today or next year or even the next couple of years, but it's one thing that I have I don't know if you can call it privilege, that I can wait since I'm a guy, and I can start a family at a way later age. I'm gonna be an older dad. I've come to that conclusion. I'm already 39, and if I don't if I have a kid today, in 20 years I'll be freaking almost 60, and that kid will be 20 years old basically. And boy, it's a lot of work ahead of me. Well, to all my workaholics, I hope you enjoyed that episode. Share your thoughts if you are that type and if this resonates with you. If not, hey, let me know regardless. You can thumb up or thumb down the video. I'll see you guys next time and have a good day.